Katie here. Welcome to my version of the Index Card a Day challenge that I'm coordinated with my Create Daily series. Today I'm using a prompt of hers from week 6, keychain or charm. The techniques that I feature are using gold gesso and the plastic wrap technique to get a vintage look and using a stencil 2 ways. So along the right-hand side, you can see that I have used modeling paste through this circle tile stencil, and I have kind of a border there. And I did that weeks and weeks ago, and I've struggled with trying to use that page. So today I came up with an idea. So this key kind of I got out of a magazine, and it kind of went with the prompt keychain or charm. And I really liked the simplicity of it. And then I came across the saying, balance is the key. And those two things went together. And so that was all I needed to get this page done. So I used the X-Acto knife right on my craft media mat, my glass media mat, and I cut out the image. Now, there's gold in the key, so I am going to use gold in my background. So I'm putting the gold across the background, and I'm using the Crafter's Workshop gold gesso. Now it is not gritty, it is smooth, 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 and it gives, when you put it underneath, it gives this glow that you get. It's hard to describe, it's just wonderful. And definitely plays into giving things that old vintage patina and look. So that's kind of where I wanted to go. So that's why I grabbed the gold gesso. And I do apply 2 coats of this. I could have gone with one, but you can see that it got much darker after I put the second coat. So now I'm grabbing dioxazine purple and phthalo green, and when you mix those, you get navy. And I'm applying that navy. Now I apply it to where the modeling paste is. I want this to catch in the nooks and crannies, and so you see kind of that patinaed old vintage kind of look. And I take this back with the baby wipe, and I do end up adding more navy on top. I think I took it down a little bit too much. Maybe using a dry paper towel would have worked better. And now I'm going to apply the same color to the entire background here. And as you can see, it's a gorgeous, deep, rich navy. Now I didn't want that border to just stand out. So I decided, I'm going to use the same stencil and I'm going to pull the paint, remove the paint through the stencil. One of my newest techniques. So I do that, and of course the paint's wet, so you get a lot of paint on the background. So you need, if you're reusing that stencil, you got to wipe it off. And I go here and I'm removing the paint, and I'm looking at it. It's not quite what I had in my head. I try the focal point on there, and I decide, nope, that's a fail. So I reapply the navy paint. And I'm not too worried if that shows through in any part because I want that textured, layered kind of look. So I decide, I'm going to grab the plastic wrap and put that on the paint. And because I want some of that gold to shine through. And I pull this off, and yes, that's exactly the vintage kind of look that I want. And because it's more cohesive, the focal point seems to be standing out a little bit more. So now I'm a little bit happier. But I left in the fail to show you another alternative. And here I'm just trying to add a little bit more blue on this. I don't want it to stand out quite as much as it is. Now that pattern that I have along the border, I still don't want that to be the only pattern on the background. As much as I'm loving the vintage patinaed look here, my background is still seemingly too simple for me. So I take that stencil and I use the navy paint and I stencil onto it. And now we have it stenciled on very faintly, as well as the modeling paste. So we've used that stencil in two ways. And I'm just spraying my Murphy's oil soap and getting off the most of the paint. Every once in a while, I do the tub of hot water with a dishwashing tablet and really get all the paint off my stencils. But in between, I just try to get off the most of it. So I'm really liking the vintage look that got going on here. That gold gesso is shining through. And I've cut apart the sentiment. But to put the white on there, it really doesn't belong in this aged vintage kind of page that I've got going on. So I'm putting a wash of the gold paint. Now the gold tends to be rather translucent, so I'm not too worried about losing the words. And if I do knock the words too far back, I can always take a micron pen and go over it and make them darker. So now that I have everything together and I'm loving how it's looking, I'm just applying some gel medium and gluing down the focal image as well as the sentiment. I had cut this key out or pulled it out from the magazine weeks ago, and it's just sitting there. It was just a happy circumstance that because I was going through those things, I was going through my sentiment stash and I was going through my magazine stash, that I was able to pull the two together, and then it went with the prompt. So when Daisy Yellow suggested that prompt, keychain or charm, it put it in the back of my head. So that's why I like using prompts at times. Although, as you've seen, I have no problem going off prompt and doing my own thing if a prompt doesn't speak to me. So I'm just giving this a good dry, and quite honestly, I'm admiring the look of this. This vintage, looks like old wallpaper in the background, and I'm just loving it. So I'm taking the woodless charcoal pencil and just grunging up the edges. I just want to frame my page. I chose not to do any shading right around the uh, focal image. I did put a little bit around the words, as you're seeing me doing right now. Links to the stencil that I use here and the woodless charcoal pencil can be found in the description box. Thank you so much for shopping through my Amazon links. You do not get paid more, but I do get a small commission. And you don't have to simply buy the things that I link to. Anything you purchase, once you go through a link of mine, I will get a commission for. So you can do your regular shopping and sponsor my channel in that way. So I grabbed my fine line bottle that has gold paint in it, and I'm just outlining the page. So I have my fine line bottle. I have brown, white, gold, black, and Prussian blue. I have got 5 bottles on the go. And these are the basic colors that I use on my art journal pages. If you do a lot of green, you might want a dark green. I don't know what I would do without these fine line bottles. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the Index Card a Day challenge. I hope you're learning from the techniques that I'm featuring. And I hope you're giving it a try, whether you're trying the technique or whether you're trying the orientation or the ideas that I'm showing. I'd love to hear about it. Leave me a comment below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Check out the iCards in the top right-hand corner and watch to the end and see some recommended videos that may use the same products or same color theme. Bye for now.